I am Connie Cullum. Welcome. And if you're new, I'm glad you're here. If you're interested in learning to compose, you're in the right place. I am the author of the book called How to Compose Beautiful Piano Music. It's a workbook that takes you through the basic steps to create a beautiful piano song. All right, in this video, we're going to go through the very first chapter in that book, which is creating chord charts in all the major key signatures. So let's get started. All right, here is the cover of the book. If you don't have the book, I'll put a link to it down in the description. Some things you can do without the book. For this particular one, if you've got about 15 pages of blank paper and you can make, write your letters in neat columns and rows, you'll be fine. But it's a little bit easier to have the workbook, but either way. All right, I'm going to go through, I have this on a PDF right here in front of me, so it's going to go vertically like this. Here's the chapter we're doing today, the chord charts. Now this part isn't the glamorous, fun, sound like a movie star part. This is just kind of laying the groundwork. So I'm going to show you how to make these chord charts, a real simple guide for how to use the circle of fifths. We're going to do the first two chord charts together, step by step. On the third chord chart, I'm going to teach you a shortcut. And then I'm just going to fill them in quickly after that. And in fact, in this video, I'll just cut so that you don't have to painstakingly watch me fill out every single square. You do it yourself though. And it's really important to double check that you're getting these 100% correct, because this is your reference for all the songs you'll write. It's the chords that are in every single major key. So if you've got one wrong, you could have it wrong in every song you write in that key. So really important to get these right. All right, here's the circle of fifths. There is a lot to learn about the circle of fifths. I'm just going to tell you basically what you need to know to do these charts. These are all the major key signatures. We start at the top with C. The red letters imply sharps, all except for C. That really should have been black. Because there's no sharps and no flats in the key of C. Now going around the key of G is red because it has sharps, and this tells how many sharps or flats it has. So the key of D has 2, A has 3. Think of it like a clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, except it's only good about halfway around. Okay, down here is the order of the sharps. So if your key has 2 sharps, you start with F, it'll have an F sharp and a C sharp. Then in the blue letters, starting with C flat and going around to complete the circle of fifths, those are flats. And if it has, like C flat has all 7 flats. G flat has 6 flats. D flat has 5. So say we're writing in the key of E flat, it has 3 flats. Down here shows the order of the flats, B, E, and stop on number 3, A. That's how you know the sharps and flats. All right, I have made a separate circle of fifths right here, so I can just click back and forth quickly. Not part of the book. Here's how we do the chord chart. Okay, these will save you so much time and agony down the road. So be sure you get these filled out and make sure they're, I can't emphasize it enough, 100% correct. Okay, here's the instructions are right down here at the bottom. Number 1, write in the Roman numerals in the rounded squares. That's right here. All right, we analyze music with a Roman numeral system. The yellow in this diagram are major because they sound happy. Here's major. The blues are minor chords because they sound sad. And this bright pink on the end is just kind of the odd child. It's very clashy and dissonant, and we don't use it that often. You have to know how to use it so it doesn't just kind of ruin your song. But we'll get into that later. Okay, so when things are major, you're going to write in capital letters. When they're minor, you'll write in lowercase. Diminished is lowercase with a diminished sign, which is a little circle like a degree sign. So let's just fill these in. Oh, I need to click here for something to draw with. Okay. 1, 2, 3. See the lowercase for the minors? uppercase for major, 5. Now this little sweetheart up here adds one more note into this chord, and you'll see right here it's called the dominant. So the way that we notate this, instead of just a regular capital 5, we're going to put a 7, because basically you start here, it's the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7. It's a 7th chord, but that's the only one we're going to worry about making a 7th chord for now. Later, when we get a little past the basics, we'll add more. So that is a 5, 7, then a minor 6, and a diminished 7th with a little degree sign. Okay, we've done number 1. Number 2, write the notes of the scale in the circles. So this is just the single notes of the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And they're just plain regular notes because we come back over here. Circle of fifths C has 0 sharps, 0 flats. Okay, now we're going to write the chords. Another thing I want to show you, because we'll be referring to this later. Tonic is what we would call number 1, or home. It's the technical term is tonic, and we'll be referring to that later, especially in the book. Don't worry about what the minors are called. We're just going to do these bright yellow. They're the primary chords of the key. Number 5 with this dominant on top is called, well, dominant. When we put that 7th, it's called a dominant 7th. Here's the sound of a dominant 7th. See how it's just very, it's pretty, but it's unsettling. You can't end a song. Doesn't it feel like it has to resolve maybe to there? Okay, that dominant 7th is the second strongest chord in the key. Tonic is the first strongest, that's home bass. Then dominant is the second strongest, and it just has a real strong pull back to home, back to tonic. All right, and the third most powerful chord in the key is number 4, and we just call that subdominant because it's underneath the dominant. All right, tonic, subdominant, and dominant. So if you remember those, you'll be good. Here's how we fill it out. We start with tonic. Now, all this row that we wrote of the notes of the scale are called the roots of the chord, or what the chord is built on, like roots of a flower or a tree. The root is what holds it in place, right? And you build from there. C. Now we're going to skip up a third, and that's what it says right down here. We've done that. Fill in the chords by skipping up a third above the root and a third again. So we skip up a third from C, that's E, because we skip one letter, C, D, E. Now we skip up again to G. If you want to visualize that, look, we're starting here on C. You can just skip horizontally, and that tells you your answers, C up to G. All right, now we're going to start with D. D is the root, F, A. Now E is the root, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D. Now this one we have to actually skip another third. That's going to be up to F. And then A, C, E, B, D, F. So now when you're writing, when you're composing a piece in the key of C, you know that this C, E, G is the chord that is home bass, tonic. And then you want to play a dominant chord. You want to put a dominant chord in there. You can just look at your chart. What are the notes of a dominant chord? G, B, D, and F. And that's going to be really helpful to just at a glance be able to have all that at your fingertips. All right, let's see how we do the next one. This is the key of G major. Let's pop back over to our circle of fifths. Here's G major. It has one sharp. So it's going to be this one, F sharp. Now let's start with our Roman numerals. 1, lowercase 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Oops. I said 7 and then drew a 7. Okay, 5, the dominant 5 with the 7th above it, the 6, and now the 7th chord, which is diminished. All right, and we are going to start on G. G. Well, the music alphabet ends on G, and you have to start over again. A, B, C, D, E, F has a sharp on it. And every F that we put up in this chart has to have a sharp. All right, let's draw the tonic chord. It starts on G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A. Oh, and now we have to go up another third. C, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C. Okay, so we are done with the key of G. Now, there's a couple of shortcuts here. And you can do whatever is good for you. If you want to write it all out exactly like we did, that's fine. But I have a couple shortcuts that I use, so I'll just show you and you can decide if you want to use them. First of all, we do still need the Roman numerals. That needs to be our foundation on every one of these. Okay, this is the key of D major. Let's pop back to the circle of fifths. D major has 2 sharps. They are F and C. So we've got to remember to put a sharp on every F and C. Here's one shortcut I use. I don't put the sharps in at the beginning. And if you're new to this, it's a little bit easier where you don't have to think of the sharps as you go along. Look, I just wrote that whole scale. Now I go back and I write a sharp on F and a sharp on C. As we get more sharps, sometimes every single one of those is sharped. I just sometimes use a red dot because red for this purpose represents sharps, and then there's a dot on there so I know it's a sharp. Okay, here's the shortcut. Instead of writing up vertically, we write across. So I'm just going to do that without putting the sharps in at first. D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It's easier to just do the alphabet. Now we do have to skip up one time. What's a skip up from D? F. I'm not going to worry about the sharps yet. F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Then we skip up one more time. A. Well, that's easy, starting on A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And here we have to skip up one more time. That's going to be a G. Whatever you end on here also goes right there. All right, now we go back and I'll look for every F and every C. And there should be 2 in each line because there's 2 sharps in this. There, that's a little bit faster to do it that way. Okay, I'm going to quickly fill in the rest. You can take your time. You can do it with me at the same speed if you need to pause the video, but I'm going to be cutting the video so that it goes right to this finished screen. I'll hold that screen for a minute so you can double check that all yours is filled out 100% correctly. All right, key of A major. Key of A has 3 sharps. They are F, C, and G. Key of E. Circle of fifths, E has 4 sharps, F, C, G, and D. B major. Okay, so that is all the major keys. I know that was kind of laborious work, but now that you have those references, you can use them for every piece you're going to write in every major key. Minor keys are something different, but we're set for the major keys. And like a perfect cadence, this is the end.